Hello everyone, this is Mr. Lawback. I hope this finds you well. In this video, I'm going to talk about minor political parties. So specifically, we will go over what minor parties are, the four types of minor political parties, and why minor parties are so important. So as you watch this video, I want you to consider this guiding question. What role have minor parties played in American politics? Not only in the past, but today. Now, as we know, in the United States, we have a two-party system. Now, that is not official, and political parties are not even mentioned in the Constitution, but the United States has always had two dominant political parties, and right now, it, of course, is the Democrats and Republicans. So what are minor parties? They are basically any other political party than the Democrats and the Republicans. Minor parties in the United States are also called third parties. Minor parties tend to be more extreme than the two major parties. Minor parties do not have the power of the major parties either. Minor parties usually do not have enough money or support to get their candidates elected, and oftentimes can't even get on the ballot. The most they can do in many cases is take votes away from major party candidates. This has happened in several elections in our country's history. This is called playing the role of spoiler in an election. So you don't win, but you alter who wins. Although minor party candidates often have little chance of winning, they are still very important. And there have been many minor party candidates to win elections at the local and state levels. So there are basically four types of minor parties: ideological, single issue, economic protest, and splinter parties. First, let's talk about ideological parties. An ideological party is based on a certain set of beliefs. Some of these parties have been around for a long time and are based on social, political, and economic issues. Examples of more liberal minor parties are the American Socialist Party, the Socialist Labor Party, and the American Communist Party. Other parties that call for more individual rights and less government control would be the Libertarian Party or the Reform Party. Single-issue parties. These parties focus only on one main concern and usually do not last long. One example from U.S. history is the Free Soil Party prior to the Civil War. It wanted to stop the spread of slavery in the mid-1800s. It was not an abolition party, but they believed any new territory should be free and only for whites. Abraham Lincoln began as a free soil movement supporter. He eventually, of course, became an abolitionist. From the 1850s, there's the pretty famous Know Nothings Party, which opposed Catholic immigrants because they felt like they were too un-American. And they got the names Know Nothing because when people asked what political party they were in, they would simply say, "I know nothing." Economic protest parties. These parties have appeared during periods of economic struggle. They have voiced their unhappiness with major parties. They have focused on issues such as foreign imports or banking. An example was the Greenback Party from 1876 to 1884. This party wanted a progressive income tax where people that make more money pay a higher percent and people that make less money pay a lower percent. They wanted new labor laws and regulations of railroads. Economic protest parties usually fade after an economic crisis is over, and they are oftentimes regional parties. Splinter parties. Splinter parties are parties that have broken away from a major party. Most of the more important minor parties throughout history have been splinter parties. The Progressive Party, which was a breakoff of the Republican Party, also known as the Bull Moose Party, was led by Teddy Roosevelt. In many cases, splinter parties have a strong personality that is their leader. Some other examples from U.S. history: the States' Rights Party, known as the Dixiecrats, which broke from the Democratic Party in 1948, and the American Independent Party in 1968. Now, why are minor parties so important? Although many Americans do not support them, minor parties play an important role in American politics. Minor parties can influence the outcome of an election. Remember the spoiler role, which we talked about earlier? Their candidate may be popular and may take votes away from major candidates. This happened several times in U.S. history. For example, Ralph Nader and the Green Party took votes away from Al Gore, the Democratic candidate, in 2000. Now, the election with George W. Bush was very close, and many political experts say if Ralph Nader was not present in that election, those votes would have gone to Al Gore, and Al Gore would have won the presidency. Minor parties often present issues that may appeal to the major parties. The major party may then support those ideas. When a minor party gets a good or a popular idea, it will be absorbed by either both or one of the major parties. Usually this happens when many citizens see the need for change and support of minority ideas. Some issues that were originally brought to the attention of the public by minor parties were the progressive income tax, voting rights for women, and the idea of Social Security were all first ideas of minor parties. Also, it was a minor party, the Anti-Masons, that first used a national convention to nominate a candidate. Then the two major parties, the Whigs and Democrats, soon followed. Now both major parties use conventions to nominate candidates for the presidency. Despite their importance, minor parties have many problems to overcome. They usually do not have the money needed to promote their candidates and programs. Newspapers, television, radio, and social media often do not give minor party candidates much attention. So we as a public don't really hear a lot about minor parties. So some big takeaways about minor parties. They have difficulty winning elections in America because of our system and because of people are so used to the two major parties. Minor parties typically form in one of four ways: according to ideology, on a single issue, in bad economic times, or they split away from one of the major parties. And again, though rarely successful in an election by winning, they often influence elections and the major parties. And very important to remember, many big changes in U.S. history have come first from minor parties. So I hope this information helps you better understand minor parties in the United States. Have a great rest of the day.